morning, y'all, and welcome to Apron Strings. This is going to be a cookie marathon day for me, and I'm going to do several videos for y'all, and I'm going to try to just let them just keep uploading where you'll have them for Christmas, so you may get more than one or two in a day. But I have shown this before, but for the sake of new subscribers and people just thumbing through YouTube, I'm going to show you again how I make pecan balls. They're called Italian wedding cookies, Mexican wedding cookies, sand tarts, pecan balls. Call them whatever you want to, but just call me when you get a plate full of them ready, because they're good. So I have toasted my pecans again that I'm putting in here. You don't have to. I just like that flavor. But I'm going to get y'all over to the mixer and we'll get them mixed up, and then we'll roll them in balls and bake them and roll them in powdered sugar. So come along to the KitchenAid this time and we'll get it going. Okay, I have got a pound of butter and a half a cup of sugar. Now my recipe card that I'm going to show at the end is just for a single batch, and I'm doing 4 times the single batch. So in my bowl I have a pound of butter that's softened and a half cup of sugar, and I'm going to mix that a little bit, and then we'll add what goes in next. There's not a lot of ingredients in these, but there's just a whole lots of goodness. That's mixed about as well as I'm going to be able to mix it again. I'm using the Bosch mixer with the cookie paddle on it because this is kind of thick when I get it going. Okay, it calls for, I have a half a teaspoon of salt for the 4 times of the recipe and 4 cups of flour, and I'm going to just go ahead and put it in. This dough is a little bit thick because you have to roll it in your balls and you want it to hold its shape. I am going to scrape it just a little bit before I add my pecans to it. Okay, for this big amount, it's 4 cups of chopped pecans. Now, other day when I was making my fruit cake, I mixed my walnuts and pecans and toasted both of them. So I am going to have a few walnuts in here to make up my, and half of these are toasted and half of them are not. But that'll be my nuts in it. Let's see, the only other thing that I'm going to have to add is a teaspoon of vanilla when I get this mixed up. Let's scrape it a little bit. It just hops up there to the top, and I don't feel like it mixes as well. Let me go ahead and add some vanilla and get that mixed in. It calls for a teaspoon, so I'm going to need it would call for 4 teaspoons, but I think I'm going to put 3 because this is good, strong, homemade vanilla, and I think that'll be plenty. So let's put this back on and let it mix. Okay, it's all mixed up, and now we'll get back to the butcher block and roll it in little balls and bake it. I'm going to use the small scoop, and I think it's a tablespoon, and I sprayed it with a little bit of kitchen spray where it wouldn't be so the dough wouldn't stick as bad. And that makes a nice bite-sized little cookie. And this is going to take a while, so I'm just going to roll a few and talk here for a minute. Then I'll get my pan full and we'll get them in the oven. And when I get them done, if you know anything about these cookies, while they're hot, we roll them in powdered sugar. And then we roll them again in powdered sugar when they cool. When I was a kid, there was a bakery in town, and they had these shaped like little smiley moons, crescents. And that was my favorite thing, to go in there and get me one of when I had a nickel. Mama didn't make these, and I liked them. So I've been making them for many years now, and I enjoy them. So I'm gonna, our weather here is horrible. I've had one of y'all text me to make sure we were okay because of what the news is saying. It had gotten really dark and was raining, but we're under a tornado. And with all the tornadoes that's happened lately, when they say that, that kind of scares you, don't it? Makes you say your prayers and ask for protection and mercy. That's what it does, because He's in control. Okay, I'm going to get this pan full, and then I'll bring y'all back, and we'll pop it in the oven. I've got one pan full to go in the oven, and they don't spread out, so you can put them fairly close together. So when they get light brown, I'm going to take them out and roll them in powdered sugar, and I'll show y'all how I've got my rolling area set up over there where it's easier to clean up. Be back in a minute. Okay, I've got the first pan out of the oven, and I'm just going to roll each one of them in the powdered sugar. And underneath my rack, I've got wax paper to catch what falls off. Sure does make it easier to clean it up. And it's going to kind of melt the first time because they're hot. They're very hot. And then the next time it coats the already damp cookie that's already been coated, so it okay, I'm just going to continue to roll these in the powdered sugar and put them on the tray to cool. You cook them about 20 minutes at 350, but I cut my oven on convection and I cooked them 11 minutes. So it's up to you and what kind of a oven that you're using. So let me get through with this, and I'll bring y'all back when I get them done, and I'll meet you over there at the butcher block. All of these have been rolled one time in the powdered sugar. I've got one more small tray in the oven, and then I'll roll them a second time and show you how it really changes them to get that second coating on them. Last little tray out, and so I'll put them where maybe you can see them under the light here. I'm going to get these rolled the first time, and I'll be back. Okay, mess and all, because there's powdered sugar everywhere. Here's our pecan balls. I'm going to get some plated up, and I'll be back in just a minute to show y'all how good they look. I always take my tin and put a little bit of powdered sugar in the bottom, and then I just put my cookies over in the powdered sugar. This is not my tin. The tin that these always go in is a Victorian looking tin, and my family knows which cookies are in which tin, but I'm not sure where I stored it, and I don't climb ladders to get up in that top cabinet to look, so I'll have to wait till somebody can do that for me, and I'll transfer them to the correct tin when I find where they're at. And then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on them. And I'll just continue to put them in here. I think it'll hold them all. Generally, when I make them way ahead of time, I have to make a couple or maybe 3 of these big batches. But we just, with everybody's issues going on, I haven't had the company I normally have. So this is my first cookies to make. And I hate that, but sometimes life just changes things a little bit, and then it'll get better. Life comes in seasons. If you're in a season of sorrow or grief or depression, or first thing, the good Lord helps that. You just have to depend on Him and call on Him and tell Him what you need help with. Be specific when you ask. If your kiddos ask for a drink and you take them water, well, I wanted a Coke. Well, be specific and tell me exactly what you want. Sometimes you might ask for something without being specific, and although He's all-knowing, He wants us to, to communicate with Him. You might get an answer, but it might not be what you want. My mama one time wanted a vehicle. She had got it in her head that they needed to get down to one vehicle. Dad had retired. Well, she decided she didn't like sitting home without wheels, so she started praying, Lord, I need a vehicle. Please provide me with a vehicle. Well, He did, and it was a little old used Ford Maverick, and she hated that car from the beginning, but it was wheels. So she decided that right quick and in a hurry, that if she was going to pray, she was going to be a little more specific with her prayers. So just remember, life is in seasons. They do change. Sometimes I think our submission to the Lord and our prayers can change things. I don't know. Sometimes He's probably just trying to teach us a little lesson that some of us are slow to learn. But don't think that everything that's going on in your world is going to last forever. It changes. I said all of that because our life has been in a terrible season for the last year. And things are better, but not best. But you know what? We've learned to live with it, take the good days, enjoy them, and trust the Lord through all of it. Now, we have a big old thing of cookies that I'm going to move over to the butcher block. And I might talk some more. Y'all believe that? Here's the cookies. All up in the tin and pretty and waiting for somebody to come by and get them one. I want to tell y'all again, thank you so much for watching Apron Strings and for commenting and being a part of my Apron Strings family. I appreciate every one of you, and I hope y'all all have a Merry, Merry Christmas, and I hope you have the means, the financial means to make a few extra goodies. I know it costs extra, but I hope you started way back there getting a little bit of your ingredients together where you could have some 1 or 2 batches of something special just for the holidays. It makes things merry and bright when your tummy's full of good stuff. So y'all need to get your butter and flour and sugar out, mix up some goodies, and feed those little ones and the big ones and everybody that comes by. I'm going to be in the kitchen a pretty good while today, so y'all will see another cookie recipe or two probably. Something that we have, some of them year-round and some of them are just for Christmas. I seldom make these except for Christmas. Once in a while I'll get to wanting some and I'll make a batch, but that's just something we look forward to for Christmas holidays. The good Lord bless and keep y'all. I hope it's calm and pretty where you're at. Our weather is kind of turbulent here. I just heard that there was a tornado about 15 miles from me. But I don't think it touched down. I think they just had a lot of wind damage. But I don't like those things. My mama used to work for a guy, and he owned a menswear store, and Mother worked there as a clerk. And he said, you know, Mr. Lathan, he said, I don't mind the hurricanes so bad because we get a warning. He said, I don't like them that just sneaks out of the bushes and gets you. Talking about a tornado. Well, I don't like them either. So I'm praying the Lord will protect us and we won't have any more of that kind of stuff around here. It's getting a little lighter outside. It's been pretty dark to be 1 o'clock in the evening. So anyhow, that's my weather story for today. I guess I'll get off of the weather station and get back to the cooking station. I'll see y'all again pretty soon right here at the butcher block with something good, fattening and yummy to make memories with.